I often read the biographies of the previous masters, and I feel quite touched and inspired by them. I remember of reading this biography of Chak Lotsawa. This is available in both English as well as in Chinese. But I think the Chinese version is a little bit difficult to understand due to the translation. In terms of the one that is in Tibetan, recently there's a published volume that includes lots of the biographies of previous masters. One of them is Chak Lotsawa. His name, another name of his is Dhammaswali. The whole journey of his pursuit of Dharma is quite intriguing. He's a Tibetan monk who went to India and Nepal in 13th century. His biography is quite extensive. He traveled to Nalanda as well as Varna Monastery, as well as lots of monasteries around the Vajra seat. One of the experiences that made the most impression on me was at the time when he went to Nepal. It was during the time of the turbulence created by the Turkic invaders. So he wanted to go, but he was a little bit afraid. So two banditas told him at the time, saying that if you were to go, you should be able to study Dharma and receive lots of Dharma teachings, and the current turbulence won't create life-threatening situations for you. You should be able to come back. And with the auspicious coincidence, he met these two merchants on the way who were sending their relatives' corpse to Ganges, because that was the ritual in India to send the corpse to Ganges, and they feel it was very fortunate and the most important thing to do for the funeral. That's how the Lotsawa went to India. And then, because of the actions, because of lots of the invading from the Kyrgyz troops were destroying lots of the Buddhist sites. So he went to, after arrived in Nalanda, there were about 70 monks there, and one of them were this 90-year-old monk. So after they received the message saying that the Turkic invaders would arrive in Nalanda tomorrow, the day after, all of them then left, except the old monk. And then Chak Lotsawa then stayed with the old monk, while the old monk scolded him, saying that, "Why are you so stupid? You must be a Tibetan." And Chak Lotsawa said, "No, I'm not going. Even if I die, I will stay with you." After everyone left, then old monk told him, saying that, "Well, it seems that you have sturdy faith and you are quite a stable person. It really shows your characteristic, your personality. So I still have a way to hide from the Turkic invaders. Why don't you carry me to this Gala shrine that is nearby?" The shrine was discovered by Nagarjuna, and on the second day, he carried the old monk to the Mahakala shrine. After 300 invaders came and destroyed Nalanda, they were able to escape from the invaders safe and sound. It seems that the invaders didn't even see them at all. And then afterwards, the Chak Lotsawa were able to receive lots of teachings from this old monk after staying with the old monk for 2 years or so. And every time, whenever he went to the Vajra seat, there usually is a woman would tell him where he could go and where he couldn't. In fact, the woman is the manifestation of Tara. Later on, when he bid farewell to the old monk, the old monk said that since I am already old, I don't think I will be able to see you again in this lifetime. But because of your faith, I entrust you with my teachings, and you should later give this teaching, spread the teaching to the Tibetan people. And then the old monk bid farewell to Chak Lotsawa at the shore, and afterwards Chak Lotsawa were able to return to Tibetan plateau and give teachings of his teacher to the Tibetan people. When I read the story of Chak Lotsawa, I especially learned about his determination of studying the Dharma without caring too much about his life. Otherwise, I think if we were at his place, I think if we were to uphold the kind of thoughts of touring around the area rather than having genuine faith, I think we won't have that kind of determination to go and to study there. But having such a determination of studying the genuine Dharma, he were able to transform the suffering, the worldly suffering, into happiness and into the motivation, spiritual motivation as well. I think the determination of studying the genuine Dharma is really important. Let it be going to India or going to Tibet or going to anywhere else, this kind of mentality, mindset is quite important. There are so many previous masters who endured the unendurable suffering, such as without food and in extreme weather, in extreme turbulence of threat of the war, and in the threat of poisonous snake and wild animals, vicious animals, and so on. They were able to overcome all of them and receive the genuine Dharma. In order to receive the genuine Dharma, they endured all of them. So whatever turbulence that we're going through right now, we should be happy about them, because not only it could dispel the negative karma that we've accumulated for eons. In fact, in order to receive the Mahayana Dharma, in the process of it, let it be the slandering or criticism, let it be the illness, let it be unhappiness, they are all considered as a way of eliminating the negative karma we've accumulated. Otherwise we won't be able to receive all the blessings. So in order to receive such, in order to dispel such kind of, in order to transform the suffering into the path, we should practice supplicating the three jewels in between sessions. Pray to the Lama and the three jewels so that you may be able to take suffering onto your path. When your mind has grown a little bit stronger, then make suffering to the three jewels and to the Dharma protectors, and then insist, please send me misfortune and obstacles. You can even supplicate to the negative forces. You can supplicate to the negative forces in the charnel ground and so forth, and saying that please send me misfortunes and obstacles so I can work on developing the strength of my practice. I think this is rather very difficult to do. At that time, you are making supplication, please grant me obstacles, please grant me difficulties, please grant me the coronavirus, other than supplicating to the three jewels and the Dharma protector, saying that please do not grant me suffering, don't grant me sickness. So we're thinking really in the reverse way. You are really supplicating for the obstacles. You are supplicating them to receive obstacles. In America, there were some hippies in the 60s or 70s. They were the ones who were quite rebellious to the traditional values. And at that time, the young people felt that kind of rebellious spirit was quite meaningful. In fact, it became quite a cultural phenomenon and got really popular. I think it was really good. But nowadays, the young people were rebellious in a different way. When I was living in Chengdu, there's a street that is full of food vendors, and people would line up since from all the way from afternoon, and the majority of them are young people. The smell doesn't smell really great. Lots of them smell like vomit, to me at least. But young people seem to like it a lot. Once I went there and ate it and ordered some popular food. They also have vegetarian option. But after eating it, I really want to throw up. But the people around me, young people around me, they really seem like they're enjoying it quite a bit. I think if the young people could transform suffering into happiness in the same way, like how they transform the weird taste of food into enjoyment, I think that would be really wonderful. I think the majority of people don't dare to make such supplications, saying that, please, with grant your blessing so that my suffering, grant your blessing so that I may receive more suffering. But in terms of food, they have the strength and the courage to face, and they're able to accept. They're willing to accept a weird tasting food, let it be extremely bitter or spicy or weird in various ways. For me, I have no courage to face. I have no courage to enjoy durian. I never had the courage. I really wanted to throw up whenever I smell it. Maybe because I don't have a good auspicious connection with durian. Similarly, sometimes suffering to other people may seem to be very horrifying, and to others, they may see it as a good practice opportunity. You can supplicate that, grant me blessings so that may I receive lots of misfortunes. Without strength in your mind, of course, it would be very difficult. And even if you initiated such supplication, and once you actually receive the blessings of misfortune, you will supplicate again, saying, please let them go away. So it really depends on your own capacity. It must be from your own insight and your own realization. Whenever suffering comes, at the same time, always stay confident, cheerful, and happy. It's quite important to remember. This is one of the difficult and very difficult kind of practice to use in your life. whatever suffering comes, you should have this cheerful mind. Of course, we probably won't have this high realization right away. However, we can practice in steps. At first, maybe when suffering dawns, you can't accept it at all. But later on, because this is quite useful, and you keep practicing on it, and you will be able to benefit from such kind of practice. I think we should be very confident at it. At least, if you can't be happy about it, at least when suffering comes, don't try to push it away. Don't try to reject it. Don't chant the wrathful mantra and then hong hong pat, and then everything's going, and then visualize everything's eliminated. We should practice according to this method, thinking that all the suffering of all sentient beings should dawn on me, so that I can practice this for them, and practice Tonglen for others. And this is the kind of teaching that we should all contemplate deeply.
Zhibun Tsunin Zhuba Zhu